afternoon. Welcome to Artists at Work. I'm Raf Etherbridge.
Hi, I'm George Alexander Thompson.
And
it's great to be back in the studio.
It really is. It's been a hot minute.
It has been 3 months since we last recorded. A lot has gone down.
A lot has gone down. And I'm not going to apologise or feel bad because do you know what? Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do.
It's, we both got very, very busy. And then a lot of family stuff came up for both of us. And we both went travelling a little bit, which has been amazing.
God.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, because I've just been to Ireland. Okay, we should just go fucking straight into news. I've just been to Ireland.
Yeah,
okay.
What's your news?
Right, I was in Ireland. I was in Ireland. I'm from Ireland. And what's it called?
I don't know why that's so funny.
The Brexit thing.
Yeah.
Brexit. Right. I'm not going to talk about politics or anything like that. One fucking amazing thing that Brexit has given us: duty-free travelling to Dublin.
Was it? I was confused by your message because I just assumed you would get duty-free travelling. Was that not the case before?
No, because it was just all Europe.
Oh, but like if you go to France, you get duty-free.
I don't know.
I think it's just always been there.
No, because I would have been buying a lot more shit. I would have been buying a lot more shit. But anyway, yeah, I bought some perfume.
Because
I don't like that one, but I like that one.
When I went to the States, I hit up the booze duty-free pretty hard. That was pretty special.
To bring it to your brother?
Yeah, to take to my brother.
Okay, so we've both been abroad.
Yeah. But tell me more about this duty-free diptyque that you got.
Oh, yeah. So I got a diptyque and it's got high notes of narcissus and mid-tones of jasmine and low notes of white flowers. And it's just a beautiful bottle. And my relations gave me money and said, buy yourself something nice in the duty-free. So I did.
I really love that because I was actually back in London with my friend Mariska recently. And we went past this really cute shop in Hackney. And I bought a new perfume as well. And I feel like we both seem to be on like a weird perfume journey where we've now each got about 6 different scents.
I mean, I like to think I live quite frugally day to day. But I like my day to day to be embellished with really beautiful and wonderful things. And perfume is something that makes me feel really fucking special.
I also think when you're working really hard and you do get a bit hot and sweaty and you jump on the train, it's quite nice to just be like confident that you might look an absolute state, but you smell good.
You fill the room with a good smell.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole thing.
My one's called Ortiga, and it's from Sicily. It's
in a beautiful box as well. If you Google Ortigia, it's quite affordable.
Yeah, that was why I got it, because the one that I do have is quite expensive, and I don't want to run out of it. And it's quite nice to have a sort of special occasion one and a slightly cheaper one for the rat race, I guess.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Just like getting through the tube and stuff like that. I'm going to find the name of this diptyque one. God, I really got it for a steal. It was so much cheaper than it is online in the UK.
Yeah, they're like 170 quid, aren't they?
No, 130.
130. So you got it for 50%?
Pretty much. I think there was an offer on as well.
Oh my God, nice.
Anyway, I can't find the name of it, but it's a beautiful bottle. Look up diptyque. It's like a theatre and perfumer kind of combo. The branding is just
it's a really lovely
fucking lush
branding.
looking. And I remember being in my early 20s going, I'd love to buy that one day. And I don't know what I spent my feckin' money on in my 20s, but I had nothing. I had nothing.
It's I've definitely felt a shift recently. When I was in the States, I bought some really nice jewelry, and I actually spent quite a lot of money on it because I was like, no, I feel like these are really beautiful pieces. I want to slightly stop just buying crap jewelry from secondhand shops and start investing in some really quality pieces for when I get older.
Well done.
Thanks. What is it? Quality over quantity.
Something like that, yeah. That's why we stopped buying fast fashion.
Exactly.
What was I going to say?
What's your other news?
My other news, I saw all my family, all the cousins. It was kind of bittersweet, actually, because I if you listened to the last episode before my dad died, it's really sad. And we had all the cousins together, and I went to see my brothers, and we were all in one room, and all the babies were there, and I was like, oh. And then I had this pang. I was like, oh, mum and dad aren't here. And it was really like, oh, fuck, you know?
Yeah, that is
But
sad.
I was just captivated by my nieces and nephews. They're the most amazing creations I've ever met in my entire life.
And Phoenix must have had fun with them.
Oh
right?
my God. He calls them the 3 cousins and then the 2 girls. Because he can't figure out their names.
Oh, that's
And
really
I'm like,
cute.
that it was adorable though. And they did Easter egg hunts and he ate a load of shite. And then we went to see my okay, this fucking complicated situation. I'm an adopted person and I found my biological mother about 4 or 5 years ago. So I go down to see her and she is, I mean, I didn't lick it off a stone. Like the woman is art.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
She's just so beautiful
Like,
and incredible. She's amazing.
Fucking bonkers in the most brilliant way ever. And she just winds up Phoenix and like has loads of little interesting curiosities everywhere. And too many plants, same as myself.
Yeah, yeah.
Just far too many fucking plants.
But also, you sent so many gorgeous photos of her, and she just looks like a sort of woodland pixie, like gardening and like her beautiful fingers and like
yeah.
all of the dirt under her nails and like growing organic fruit and vegetables and like living off the land and just being a proper cool human. Like it's
Very
amazing.
cool human. I mean, we even kind of, even though we don't have the same face, the same ears. I've got huge ears. But
Yeah, you've got similar face, definitely.
oh well, I don't know. We've a similar kind of strength to us, I suppose. We're both very strong people, you know, from a long line of cattle farmers. But what was I going to say? Yeah, we're both very in the soil. But it was really nice to bring Phoenix out and forage and like tell him what you can eat and please don't eat anything unless we're here. But, you know, he ate some sorrel and he really liked it.
Oh,
and
cool.
he ate some gorse and he didn't like that, but it smelled nice. Furs, gorse, what do you call it?
I don't know. I don't know if you can eat gorse. That's the really spiky one, isn't it?
It is really spiky, but it smells like macaroons. You can eat it. It's not
Really?
poisonous. Yeah.
Oh, well, I just thought it would be really spiky in your mouth.
But you wouldn't eat the feckin' twigs. You eat the flowers.
Oh, I see.
Jeez.
I was like, you can't put that in a salad. You like cut your mouth open. Eat the flowers.
Eat the flowers.
Nice as a cocktail garnish.
That would be lovely. We should get, and it's
Yeah.
going everywhere.
Like an Irish whiskey cocktail with like yellow
an
flowers
old
in the
fashioned.
top.
Oh, that's lovely.
We'll have to do that for the next cocktail moment.
I mean, so
An
that's
homage to your trip.
So that's my news. I very nonchalantly just mentioned like a pretty epic event. If anybody out there is adopted or wants to know more about how I pursued that, please get in touch with us at artists.areworking@gmail.com.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's a beautiful story, and I think you've always had a very like big, complicated family. And I think it's been really nice watching you over the last few years sort of add those elements into your family and work out what relationships you're having with who and
Yeah, put all the pieces together.
yeah, because I think especially, I mean, you know, I don't want to talk too much about the history of adoption in Ireland, but it has been quite chaotic. So to be able to find your biological mum is incredible, really.
It was. There was a letter waiting there for me, and my story is unusual in that it just happened really quickly, and everything was grand and it all fit together, and it was really good.
Cool.
My next bit of news is actually I'll leave it for poetry moment, which will come later. But I'm a poet.
Yes, you are.
I'm a poet. So
She's a professional.
and also a little bit of advertising. Leah Kirby from our episode 13 from season 1, I believe.
How
I don't
do
know.
you do it in memory?
I might be wrong. But it's Cyro and the Drag Things. They came over to my house and we did a butch headshot session.
They're such great photos.
Fucking-
They're so beautiful.
They're really real
Yeah.
and like
really sexy and like powerful
fucking
images. They're great.
butch. Like I consider myself quite butch-ish. I don't know. I'm butch sometimes. I don't know. It depends on
Yeah.
what mood I'm in. But Leah really owned it and just looked fucking amazing and powerful and strong. And it was just very real. And I was like, I'm going to do this. So if anybody wants to come to my house and take some nice queer shots with me, I'd love to welcome you over.
Yeah, it's such a gorgeous space. The light's amazing. The space is really like clean and has a gorgeous energy. And you've got loads of stuff and costume and like bits and pieces that are great props.
I didn't even realise how photogenic my place is, but I did purposely put up everything the way I liked it, and I'm really proud of it, and I really love my space, and I'm taking bookings. Info at rapheatherbridge.com. Prices start from £150 per session. Get in touch.
Yeah, do it. It's so like, honestly, like some of the most valuable possessions I have in my life are photos that Ra's taken of me.
Shut up.
No, like honestly, like it's a real honor to have pictures by you in my house and in my life because they're fucking great.
Oh, I think the same about your artwork.
Thanks,
And Alex
babes.
McKenzie, our producer, just over there.
Oh yeah,
He does gorgeous lino cuts, and I have 3 of them above my bed, and they just make me happy.
yeah. I'm really looking forward to going to the framers. That's my next thing that I need to do. There's so much work that I need to be framing.
Wait,
But that's a whole nother story.
That is a whole nother story. Next, your news or both of our news?
Well,
what do you fancy doing?
Let's do. I'll do my news.
Okay.
I sent you too much news, didn't I?
But just tell us about what excites you most.
The most exciting thing I've done recently was to go to New York to visit my brother.
Ooh la la.
And his wife and their little son called Arthur, who's so cute.
Look at her hair.
Like, so cute. Like, I couldn't even cope with how adorable this kid is. And it was really the first time we've gone to New York just for like a family visit. It's normally like quite a party, vibey New York situation, but we just wanted to hang out with them and spend some time with their son. And he's so sweet. Al took out a banjo that my dad had restored for Arthur and taught him like little music things and like singing and stuff like that. So cute. And then the other amazing thing that we got to spend loads of time doing was going to all the art galleries and just like, I always forget how much fucking incredible artwork there is in New York because so much of it in the Second World War got shifted to America from Europe because they were worried it was going to get destroyed by the Nazis. So huge collections were sent over to America. And there's like just a phenomenal amount of really incredible modernist art in New York. And anyone who's into it, go check it out. I went to the Whitney Museum, which I've never been to before. And that was...
I've never heard of it.
It was really cool. I've got their catalogue here, which isn't very helpful on the podcast, but it was set up by...
Is that a can of beer?
Yeah, it's for Cocktail Moment.
Why is it empty?
Because I drank one of them.
I love you.
Which I felt really, really terrible about, but equally, there's a good story behind it. I'm just trying to find her name now. This is so bad that I can't... Gertrude Vanderbilt Whitney.
Fucking great name.
So she was married to a very wealthy businessman in New York, and she was an artist herself, and she started making sculptures, and then eventually she started a studio where she invited other artists to show their work. And then that became like her way of collecting art. She bought a lot of pieces to support artists. And it grew and grew and grew into this huge gallery, which is now a superb collection of modern American painting. It specifically collects American artists. And it's a really cool collection of stuff. So I'd really recommend that. The other thing that happened in New York is the rise of Steve the Orange Bag.
Yes.
You're like so desperate to get to that bit. Like, I can see you being like, yeah, I don't want to actually talk about this. I want to talk about Steve the Orange Bag. So Steve is my tool bag. I bought him years ago, and he's a rectangular orange patent leather bag with a zip at the front. And he's always been my toolkit. I just like keep stuff, take it to work, paintbrushes, whatever. And then at the Edinburgh Fringe a couple of years ago, he got goggly eyes put on him and some gold eyebrows and some stripes. And like he sort of jazzed him up a little bit. He's always been known by everyone as Steve. And I did like a serious level procrastination the other day where I had to go to the studio and do some work and do a sculpture and do a painting and finish a drawing and get back to a client. And I was like, yeah, I can do all of that if I just set up his Instagram account first. Like that will be, I can do all of that, but he needs this moment.
He needs his spotlight time.
And it kind of happened because Ra and I had been on a photo shoot where I'd had Steve as my kit bag. And Ra had taken a portrait of Steve in the beautiful sunset lighting that we were using for our actor.
Yeah.
And the actor moved out of shot to get her makeup done. And I just threw Steve in and was like, quick, Ra, go. So like money shot of Steve, epic.
It was a beautiful shot. He looked amazing. And I had loads of shit to do when Steve's Instagram took off, and I was just checking it every fucking 5 minutes.
It was very cute taking him to the States because I put him through the security machine and got photos of him coming around on the luggage carousel, poor Ali, like romantic trip for two to New York. And I was like, babe, will you take a photo of me and Steve at the Guggenheim Museum? And will you take a photo of Steve next to the fountain outside the Metropolitan Museum of
Did
Art?
Ali get jealous of Steve?
There were moments where I was aware that I had to kind of be more attentive to Ali.
See, just a little bit of advice from the divorcee over here. So I had
Don't hyperfixate on your bag.
Sorry. I remember I had this blanket, a single duvet blanket, and I called it Holdy. And I really liked Holdy, and I liked a specific duvet cover on him. And my ex it became an issue.
Like jealous of
Like,
the blanket.
Can I get a hug? And I was like, no, it's me and Holdy.
Oh no.
And like I loved Holdy so much. It's now Phoenix's blanket.
I think it's cute that we do stuff. Like I found Steve to be quite useful in documenting what we were doing, because I get quite, especially when I go on trips or holidays, people are like, what did you get up to? And I'm like, I don't have a fuck. I guess if you can't remember in the second.
Yeah.
But we, like I put him in front of my favourite paintings at the MoMA Museum of Art and at the Guggenheim and stuff. We did like a shot with all the Kandinskys that they've got there.
Isn't it funny how our brains work like that?
Yeah, it's just a nice way to kind of log information without doing because what I fucking hate, and I don't, people can do what they want. It's just I'm not a fan of it. But when you go to an art gallery and you have something magnificent that someone's painted and someone's got their back to it and is taking a picture of themselves in front of it. And I'm like, you're sort of saying that you're prettier than the painting that took a life's work. Like I find it a bit weird when people do that. Turning your back on the fucking Taj Mahal, everyone was like taking selfies. And I'm like, just take a photo of the fucking incredible building in front of you. Why do you need to be in it? But then by repositioning Steve in the front of the picture, it's like you can see the artwork and I'm just logging a memory in a way.
I get taking selfies. It's okay.
I get it. I don't.
Do you know I took a monkey to New York?
No.
Yeah, not a real monkey. It was a vintage monkey called Bobby Numchuck. And
for a second there, I was like, what were you doing with a real monkey in New York?
I'm just going to go.
That's too cute.
On a little tangent. Sorry, okay, my videos. And I made a stop motion animation called Bobby's Escape from Ipswich, because I moved to Ipswich. So if you go to YouTube and type in Bobby's Escape from Ipswich under Rara Petherbridge.
It's, absolutely enchanting to me. I've just watched Bobby's Escape from Ipswich, and Raz made a beautiful stop motion video that goes with the sound, with the story. And Bobby Nunchucks ends up in front of a Jackson Pollock at MoMA. And I have a photo of Steve the Orange Bag at the same...
Stop.
No, like literally same brain, like same
what
picture.
Is up
like
with us?
That's a Jackson Pollock. This is my inanimate object that I've made friends with. Like...
But we need them to experience the world because it's almost like we're showing them.
Well, you see more stuff when you're looking in it with a slightly different perspective. I think it's quite a useful tool to have. I imagine it's why kids have teddy bears and stuff, because your imagination allows you to play in 3 dimensions as opposed to just looking out of your eyes.
Because Steve and Bobby alike are quite naive characters.
Yeah.
So you can... Oh God, we're slightly fucked up, aren't we?
Steve's a real cutie. My favourite photo of him is coming through airport security, and he's like, "I'm blushing. They saw right through me." And it's just like his zip mouth is slightly open. It's really cute.
You're one of my favourite ones of Steve's Instagram. What's Steve's Instagram?
So Steve's Instagram is Steve_the_orange_bag. No, wait a second. Maybe orange bag is one word. Yeah, Steve_the_orange_bag.
Okay. One of my favourite ones is when he was at Liberty and there was another bag with eyes, and he's like, "I've met someone." And I'm like,
oh yeah.
I can't cope. You're a fucking comic genius.
Oh,
you're so funny.
He makes me notice stuff that I wouldn't otherwise notice. And I found it quite, I also say the other thing that happened in New York is obviously my brother's kid, who's 2, Arthur, like completely fell in love with Steve and bought into the fact that it was like another person in the house. And would go, there's a cute photo of him like dragging him through the living room and then trying to put all his books into Steve so that he can look after them. And like they're there's a photo of them sat on the Staten Ferry together with like their arms around each other. And I was just like, my poor older brother is like, what are you doing? Like, this is mental.
See, this is the thing. Like, I've met your older brother a couple of times. And I mean, it reminds me, and as well with my brothers, we're pretty bizarre
Yeah.
in comparison. And it's hard to be that at times, actually. And now that I'm a little bit older, I just kind of am unashamedly a bit strange.
Yeah.
And
I think when
I'm more
into
comfortable with it
yeah,
now.
I think it's nice to lean into it and just be like, yeah, it's playful, right? And I think artists should really celebrate being playful and experimenting with stuff and finding little moments where you can, enjoy the silliness, isn't it?
It's just being in the now, isn't it? And it's just playing. And it's something that Phoenix has. It's something that you have, I have, Alex has. But it's something that seems to leave when you become an adult. Not that we're not adults. I'm totally an adult.
I'm not an adult. I mean,
Definitely
I am an
are.
adult.
You really are.
But
You do all the grown-up things. But we have a wonderful sense of childlike joy about us. And I think anyone who's an artist or is struggling with their mental health because they're an artist and they're not engaging with their childlike joy, just fucking engage with it.
Yeah, because I think you, especially at school, like, I think they try and homogenize everyone. And, you wear your uniform and you go to the same lessons and you have your timetable because school has to work like that because you have to have an element of control in order to educate people. But I do think that you can squash people's joy if you don't let them, just have playful moments where they're like,
shit.
And doing silly stuff.
That's all I did in school.
Like there was a fire hydrant in New York with like googly eyes sticker stuck
So
on
funny.
it. It was fucking great.
That's
I wouldn't have seen it if I hadn't had Steve. Do you know what I mean? I would have walked down the street and not noticed it. But it really made me laugh. And I was like, that's nuts. We've had to stop on a highway so that I can take a photo.
So people in New York as well were really interested in Bobby when I took him.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh my God, I love your monkey. And I was like, thank you. Do you want a picture with my monkey?
Oh my God, I wonder how many like random photos there are.
Of Bobby.
Yeah.
I mean, I took him into like all the nice places, and FAO Schwartz was still there when I went. So we went on the big piano and like,
oh, cool.
It was just, I
Just
miss
really
Bobby.
fun.
He's currently living.
Do you know where he is?
Yeah.
Is he with Lewis and Marzo?
He's with Lewis and Marzo. He's living in Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Lewis is scared of him.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
Lewis is scared of Bobby. Now, Bobby, he's wearing a little jumper and an I Heart New York t-shirt, but like, he's a scary monkey.
Yeah, I mean, he looks pretty terrifying.
He was there for my birth, but yeah, I haven't seen him in a few years because the old Panny D,
Oh, we should have to get it back.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what my other news was.
I think
Oh, Ra got me tickets to see Grayson Perry's A Show for Normal People.
Yeah.
It was really interesting.
Yeah.
He's incredibly smart and it was a very funny show, but I found it really challenging.
Tell me why.
Because I don't know if I agreed with a lot of the stuff he said.
Oh, I like that.
And I really, really love his art and I really connect with him on an artistic level.
Mm-hmm.
So to hear him speak and be like, what? Was quite like, it was an odd experience.
Okay. Tell me what you didn't agree with.
So the show is based around him asking questions of the audience. So you log on your phone with an app and then as the show progresses, he asks questions and everyone fills in their answer.
Okay.
And then he does like a data scoop of the room. And the show is called A Show for Normal People.
Mm-hmm.
And he's sort of, this first thing out of the gate when he opens the show is, I'm normal. And I was like, no, you're not. And then I was like, I love you, babe. I don't agree with that. But then as the show progresses, you can see what he does. He asks everyone questions and then he gets these responses and he sees, you see, normal. These are normal statistics. These are normal things. And I couldn't work out whether it was to try and encourage his creative, artistic, slightly mad demographic, because you could see people, everyone was dressed up. You've been to a Grayson Perry show before.
You were up in the gods though.
Yeah.
So like you had the cheapest tickets. Sorry, they're still expensive.
No,
the Royal Albert Hall. But everybody up there dresses up.
Yeah.
And then everybody down there
it's quite normcore.
they're the normal people that spend £200 on a ticket.
Interesting.
To see Grace and Perry at the Royal
No,
Albert
Grace and
Hall.
Perry. Because at the end of the show, I slightly felt like you've just spent an hour and a half telling me I'm normal, and I don't want to believe that. And a lot of the questions is like, did you grow up with an Aga in your house? Yes. Do your parents have a dog? Yes. Like
No.
a lot of the sort of, I think you're right about the sections of the theatre. Maybe it was that it's pitched at a fairly middle class white British crowd, and so it was normal. But his data set is always going to be fucked up for that, because his audience will always be a similar group of people. Like there are people who'll go and see Grace and Perry, and there are people who won't. And it was really, really fascinating, and I had the most incredible evening. But it was very challenging.
I'm kind of with you on that, because you're fucking extraordinary. If anyone calls you fucking normal or boring, I'm going to fucking kneecap them.
Same to him. Do you know what I mean? Like his work is really challenging. His, being a straight man who's a transvestite is challenging. Like I think it's fucking cool, but I think it's very dangerous to try and put everyone into a normal category.
It's just categories are dangerous.
You have to celebrate people for their divergence. And I think a show where you celebrate difference would always be better than a show that celebrates
I don't think
normality.
that show was, no offence, for you. I think it was for the people that spent 200 quid on a ticket.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Because he did at one point, he said, I can't remember what question he said, but he was like, oh God, it's never gone that much conservative before. Are the tickets at the Albert Hall particularly expensive, perhaps? And I was like, you must know that. You must know
you
what
wouldn't
you're
know the
selling
fucking
tickets
ticket
for.
prices.
Do you not?
No. I wouldn't give a shit.
The other thing is,
Go on.
This is really mean. And Grayson, if you're listening, I fucking really respect you, man. But my boyfriend's an opera singer, and seeing Grayson Perry sing at the Royal Albert Hall hurt my soul, because Ali should have been up there instead.
It should have been Ali.
I was like, he did a fine job for a not singer to sing songs, and the songs were very funny. But I was like, you can't actually sing. And then I wondered whether that was part of his shame, being on stage, performative shame, because he's spoken a lot about that with his work. And I was like, are you singing in the Royal Albert Hall so that you can feel that sexual shame? And then have we all paid to be part of a sexual fantasy that narrates into your previous work as
fucking love it.
Transvestite, which is very clever if that's the case.
It's very good. Oh my God, if you cracked his show, I love it.
That was my, but also I was the dickhead because I went on my own, and I love that you go to theatre on your own. I found it very intimidating.
Oh, did you? I'm sorry. I always go on my own.
I got out my fountain pen and my notebook, and I sat 2 rows ahead when there were no other seats taken up, and I just took notes. And I was like, I'm really interested in this because it really challenged me. I was like, I don't know if I agree with you, but then also, is what you're doing so subversive that you're doing exactly what I think you're not doing?
Grayson, if you'd like to get in touch with us,
come on our podcast.
We've got fucking questions. We've got a lot of questions. I've actually got questions about the last show you did at the Palladium as well. Me and Sam Moyer went, and there was a few things in that I was like,
But I really love that, because I think art is. I really enjoy going to MoMA, and there was a lot of stuff in the Whitney that I'm very familiar with. And I've said this to you before, it's a bit like going and seeing old friends. Like if you see a Francis Bacon painting, or if you see a Rauschenberg or a Louise Bourgeois.
When we went to see the Cy Twombly.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just like, joy, leaving.
And you don't have to be challenged by the work because you've done that work before.
Yeah.
And so you go and see these paintings that you've already got to grips with, and you can just really enjoy them without having the like, is it art? What's a question? Like soul, everything. Like you've done that. And I think that's what was quite nice about the Grayson Perry thing, is I thought I had his work pretty sussed. And then I was like, I'm really going to have to read up on this because I think it's so fascinating. So yeah, nice to be challenged.
Okay, we'd just like to talk about our favourite things, everyone.
Do you know what yours is? Or shall I give you a minute and explain mine?
You go for yours. You go first.
I went to the Louise Bourgeois exhibition at the Hayward Gallery at the weekend with my very good friend Mariska and her daughter Gaia, who is an angel. It's ridiculous. She's so cute. She came in a like Disney princess outfit and was just running around. I even said to the lady on the door, I was like, is Louise Bourgeois appropriate for a 5-year-old? Because it's quite intense artwork. There's lots of like model dolls giving birth and stuff like that. It is quite intense, but she was great. And there's this one sculpture of a little model doll made out of an old tapestry sat on a chair with spider legs coming out of it. It's incredibly freaky. And I was like, oh, this one's a little bit scary, isn't it? Like, that's quite weird, isn't it? And Gaia was like, it's like in Toy Story.
Oh, yeah. There's some really freaky dolls in Toy Story.
But the doll's head with the spider's legs. Yeah, and I was like, oh my God, it is. And she said it's even only got one eye, like the top. And I was just like, what's happening? This is so cool. That link between a character in Toy Story and Louise Bourgeois is something that my brain would never have done that.
I love it.
So happy about it. And then in the gift shop afterwards, I found a book called Louise Bourgeois, The Spider and the Tapestries. And it's a Hauser and Wirth publication. Hauser and Wirth publication. I hadn't realised that Louise Bourgeois' father, Louis Bourgeois, dealt in antique tapestries from the 17th and 1800s. And he had a shop in London, and a lot of the tapestries got moth-damaged and moth-eaten and quite ruined, and she used them in her sculptures. So this book is a catalogue
Is that what the heads are made of?
Yeah, so the heads are all formed out of these beautiful tapestries, and some of the spiders. And it's literally just a book of pictures with a couple of almost automatic writing style pieces from her that she's obviously written down notes. And it is a stunning, stunning book. It was quite expensive, but
What's quite expensive?
25 quid.
Oh, that is quite expensive.
It's a little book as well. It's not like a big book. But it's very, very beautifully made and very, very cool. Check it out.
I will.
That's my favourite thing.
Well, my favourite thing is actually, I'm going to find the little receipt for it. So it's books as well. So when I went to see my mum, my biological mum, we call her the B-ma, which is the bio-ma.
Oh, cute. That's really sweet.
And so I've had struggles with my mental health and, spectrum kind of unusualities about me. And she had this really fucking interesting book, and she sat me down in her bed and she's like, you'll really take interest in this. And there was a whole chapter about bipolar disorder or something like that, or autism spectrum disorder, about how it's not necessarily inherited. And like, it was really easy to digest. And I bought it. It's called In Search of Madness by an Irish doctor who graduated from Trinity College in Dublin called
cool.
Brendan Kelly. And I bought that. But I also bought a stack of other things. I bought The Story of Ireland by Brendan O'Brien for Phoenix. I also bought The Gospel According to Blind Boy, because who doesn't fucking love Blind Boy?
Oh yeah, I spent a lot. Was it Marvin's Binoculars, the job we listened to loads of Blind Boy, and I'd never listened to it before, and it's fucking wonderful.
Listen to Blind Boy.
So smart.
Such a hero.
Really cool.
I got The Dubliners because I gave away my last copy, The Dubliners by James Joyce. Yeah.
That is one of my least favourite books.
Oh, fuck off, really? Yeah. I'll have to read it to you in an Irish accent.
That I could get behind that.
And then I got Dublin Then and Now by Lisa Marie Griffith. Can you tell I'm missing being at home much?
Yeah.
Just bought a stack of Irish books.
But that's really nice. I mean, it's really nice to relink into that world and want to learn about it and want Phoenix to know about it, because it makes sense that you want to buy all that stuff now that Phoenix is a bit older and can understand stuff, because that's his heritage as well. It's really important for him.
It is. It's a celestial glue, as I call it, that kind of ties you to home.
The James Joyce thing is really interesting because it was one of our A-level English books.
Oh, that'll ruin it. Yeah.
And I just remember there's one story in it called Araby, where the boy wants to go to the market, the fair, because he's in love with this girl. And he tries to buy her a bracelet, but he gets there too late, and the bracelet he buys is crap, and then he gives it to her and she doesn't really like him. And I just remember putting my hand up and being like, this guy's an absolute prick. Like, I don't...
Oh my God, I would get in trouble for stuff like that
What's
in school.
His problem? And everyone was like, no, it's about the heartbreak and the loneliness and the difficult. And I'm like...
You can't have an opinion at school though,
be
George.
Better. Like, I really like...
I remember putting up my hand and in school, I think we were doing Macbeth, and I was like, Miss, I think Macbeth is a cowardly lion or something like that. I said something like that. And she was like, no, actually, I think you'll find the answers in the back of the book and this is the character breakdown. I'm like, am I not fucking entitled to an opinion
No,
here?
yeah, exactly. And it's
oh, fuck school. Fuck it in the ass.
But actually, do you know what? What I would like to caveat my previous statement about one of the greatest Irish writers of all time, and say that my opinion on James Joyce is very much from the lens of a grumpy 18-year-old posh boy from Buckinghamshire, and I should probably reread The Dubliners and look at it through a slightly more wholesome lens.
Oh my God, our producer Alex McKenzie has just picked up a copy of James Joyce's The Dubliners.
He's about to beat me to death with it.
I love that literature and books are based as our favourite things. As a dyslexic person, it is quite hard for me to get through books, but I'm learning how to digest them, and it's really embellished my life.
Can I do a shout out for the book that I've just finished?
You finished a book?
A whole book.
Fuck my life. Go on. What did you do? Which one is it?
But it's Charlie Porter. He's a wonderful fashion writer and journalist. Wrote a book called What Artists Wear. And he goes through a kind of incredible history arc of different artists and how their clothing was subversive or utilitarian or, in order to develop a brand. He talks about how Basquiat dressed and how Barbara Hepworth wore her clothes, and it culminates in this really incredible story of how artists and what they wear to make their artwork is an incredibly personal relationship.
Oh my God, like Harriet Darling.
Yeah, and like, it's, her silver bracelet and her, our dungarees, your tool belt. And
as we're sitting here now, George is wearing a pair of dungarees with a beautiful colour palette of paint on it and his Rule 1 t-shirt. I am wearing a very old striped long-sleeved red and white t-shirt covered in paint and a pair of dungarees, maternity dungarees, that are covered in paint and plaster, and a tool belt that has 10 years of layers of job on it. And like, I don't mind wearing that out during the day because it's so curated and I need it.
But you see scene as well. Like, I read this book and I put it down and I was like, he gets it. Like, he completely, like, thank you so much. I was so grateful for the book because it made me...
What's the name of the book again?
It's called What Artists Wear.
By?
Charlie Porter.
I'm getting it.
And it's actually a very... I think because he's a journalist and a lot of his writing is in columns, the chapters are succinct. They are easy to read. Like, it's very well formulated. It's got a really nice trajectory. And it really, it's made me want to wear more of my painty clothes just out and about because you feel seen as an artist. People look at you and know what you are. And then you don't get into those social situations where people say,
show us your art then.
What do you do? Like, show us your art. You can just be unashamedly yourself in what you wear to work.
So recently I went down to Penzance and I was traveling. It's a fucking 5.5 hour journey.
Yeah, it's a long one. And
I was just like, I'm going to wear my work clothes. And even though I was arriving into somewhere incredibly rural, there's something about just always wearing my workshop clothes and my work clothes now. I always feel ready.
Yeah.
And I always feel like myself. I don't know how to describe it more profoundly. I just feel comfortable in my own skin if I've got my fucking stupid dumb tool belt with my fucking edging brush and, a few tampons and a toothbrush and a multi-tool in it. I'm ready.
You're ready for stuff.
I'm ready.
It's really fun because I think there are two schools of thought. Like, one school of thought is that fashion is sort of silly and hyperbolic and it's not who you are. It's just what you wear. And that is so far from how I feel about clothes. Like, clothes absolutely are a fundamental way of how I define myself. And I can't...
You and me both. I mean,
I can't see a way out of that.
No, I think everything that's in our wardrobes as well, like everything that I choose to wear is really special or really stupid or really funny, and it entertains me and it makes me smile when I look at myself in a reflection somewhere. And if somebody says, "Oh, what the fuck are you wearing?" I don't mind telling them.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I am my clothes. They even look like they're melted into me. Same with yourself. We all look like one thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I love it. Chloe Wynn took a really nice photo of me next to
Chloe
a
Wynn
sculpture I've just finished, Create 180.
From the episode The Egg Fell Out on season 3, episode 2.
Oh my God, yeah.
She took a photo of you with your sculpture.
With a sculpture that I just finished, and I look such a mess. Like, I think in any other context, I wouldn't have wanted to put the photo on social media. But I was covered in paint and my hair looked like shit and my face was a mess and I was like, oh, I look quite good actually. Like, it was nice to see myself and feel confident that that's just how I look as an artist without any of the kind of trying to dress up for anyone. And that was just me at the end of a really long work day, having done something I really loved doing. And it was it's a really special picture. I like it.
I like the one of Chloe Bell from Create 180 took of me, and it was just me in my overalls, just looking really happy.
Oh yeah, that's a great photo.
And I was like, oh yeah, I am really happy, and I've got these tank overalls, army tank overalls, and they're really comfy, and they've got like a decade worth of paint on them, and they just make me smile. So yeah, I'm gonna get that book.
Yeah,
What Artists Wear.
What Artists Wear. It's a great one.
I think, is that the end of our favourite things?
That's the end of favourite things. That's it. No more favourite things,
No
kids.
more favourite, there's nothing else. Okay, so poetry moment. Fucking hell, George.
A little loud.
Sorry.
Just
okay,
keep it.
So
Let's
I'd
enter
just
the
like
poetry
to
moment slowly and quietly.
Slowly and quietly and smoothly with lubricant enter the poetry moment.
What treats have you got for us this week, Rob?
Okay, so our friend Ellie Dillon Reams, which we'll have on the podcast at some stage, has launched a book called Maladaptive. And she invited me to perform my poetry at her book launch. And I did. I only went and got another gig off the back of it.
It was sensational.
Oh, thank you.
Like a room of poetry crowned people, probably 70 people in the room. It was such a great performance. I was really, really proud of you. It was beautiful to watch and everyone loved it. Yeah, and you got another gig.
I did. I got another gig at, let me get the feckin' flyer up. So the two of the poets that were there, Tyrone Lewis and Kayla Martel Feldman, were there, and they invited me to be a featured poet on their regular poetry night called Process, and that's on the last Tuesday of every month. It's an open mic in Rule Zero at Sub-Zero in Hackney Wick. So they invited me along, and it was their second night, and I was like, I'm not a fucking poet. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. But like, they're like, yeah, you're the featured artist. And I'm like, who the fuck am I in the world of poetry? But
this is so great. Off
I went. Our friend Isabel went, and it was a great vibe. So I had a little bit of support. There was a familiar person there.
Yeah, that's nice.
And I went up and did my set. I have a set now. And I have a new poem. Would you like to hear it? And it was really exciting because when I went up and I was like, this is a new one, they all started going, new shit. And I was like, oh, is that a thing?
Like,
yeah. And they did that.
Yeah. It's so cool.
And
poetry crowd, man.
I don't know if I've ever done the clapping one on the podcast, have I? Because it doesn't really work.
It doesn't really read over the...
But I have a poem about clapping, about how fucking ludicrous it is. And then everybody did the clicking, and I was like, that's so much nicer.
Oh, that's really sweet.
That's so much nicer. And like, they came up to me and they're like, yeah, fucking clapping is stupid. And I'm like, I know, right?
Yeah, it's so silly.
But yeah,
read us a new poem.
I have a new poem. I don't have it actually written down with me, but I'm just going to remember it. It's called No Regrets. Who the fuck coined the term no regrets? Because I have fucking tons of regrets. And I don't want to feel obliged to have no regrets because I've got fucking loads. Like, fucking loads of regrets. I have loads of regrets. And
nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's an intense one. I think you're right. Like, it's a very ridiculous, yeah, like, no regrets, man. Like,
No
and you're
regrets.
like-
And get it fucking tattooed on you.
and someone always says it at like the end of a night when everyone's had too much tequila and they're like, come on, no regrets. And you're like, we're all going to regret this. Like, what are you even saying?
You're so right. Like, I regret like some purchases I've made. I regret some relationships I've had. I regret.
No, really?
Oh, shut up. I regret a lot. And yeah, whatever the fuck, it's like develop my character, whatever. Cock that. I would have done it completely differently if I could start again.
And also, if you don't regret things, then I don't think you progress as a human being. Because if you were just literally that flippant about it, you were like, well, I don't regret anything, then it wouldn't, you'd have no drive to become better. Yeah.
And like, what breaketh the man, maketh the better artist.
Good point. That's tombstone worthy right there. Like, as they say, the man regrets.
Oh,
like,
my
excellent.
God.
But the song, the Edith Piaf song, No, oh, it's the most sensational thing. I love it.
She's beautiful.
That's one of my favourite songs.
Did she coin the term?
No, I mean, I'm sure that would have been a term before she wrote the song, because otherwise the song wouldn't have made
It's
sense.
just two words put together, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've got another one.
Okay.
New shit, as they say in the poetry. I'm in the fucking poetry scene, but anyway.
Well, you are the poetry scene.
Stop it! Oh my God. Okay, this one, do you know what I mean? This one is called Dad. And, you know, I lost my dad recently. You'll hear the episode where I was full of woes. It's a couple of episodes. Anyway, so my dad died last year and I thought I was dealing with it really well and getting on with my life and stuff like that. Until recently, I was walking through a field and I came across a big bundle of early snowdrops and it filled me with so much fucking joy. I just needed to snap it to and share it with Dad, and I forgot. And I went to call him and I didn't know where to put that empty feeling because he's not available to speak right now. End.
Oh, that one's really intense, but really beautiful.
It's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's a gorgeous poem. Like, that's really nice.
Yeah, but that's the odd feeling of grief, isn't it? I mean, we've all lost people, but when you forget just in that little moment,
yeah, and you want to share something, and you're like, oh, I can't.
What the It's not even it's just like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, I think that's really relatable. I've spoken to a lot of people recently who are having those experiences, and it's it's quite jarring because you feel a bit like, oh shit.
I would like to move on and celebrate the poets.
Can you pick a poem from one of them for me to read?
Oh, yeah. So this is Tyrone. Tyrone is also, he likes to document all of his poetry nights. So there's pictures of me at Process, and I really appreciate this guy. His mum was there and she's a fucking amazing human being.
Oh, he read that poem about his mum. Yeah, incredible.
I mean, this is my favourite one in this book. Do you want to read it?
Yeah, do you mind?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, so this is Kanye by Tyrone Lewis. I've got a secret. I'm Kanye West, at his Kanye best. And I must Kanye confess, I'm better than the Kanye rest. You don't want to put me to the Kanye test. Are you jealous of how I'm Kanye dressed? Or that I'm Kanye fresh? Just accept that I am Kanye West. Yes, as you may have Kanye guessed, I am Kanye blessed. And no, I'm not Kanye obsessed. This isn't a Kanye mess. I am just Kanye West, while you're a Kanye pest. You've got no Kanye zest. You're Kanye less acting Kanye stressed. But I can help you come to my Kanye fest. I'll give you a Kanye crest. And then maybe, just maybe, you could be one step closer to being Kanye West.
Fucking great. Man's a genius.
Really brilliant. Like, that's absolutely superb.
He's his stuff is so endearing and he's a wonderful performer. Really hard hitting, some of his poetry as well. I just totally recommend getting Blackish by Tyrone Lewis.
It's worth mentioning that this is published by Burning Eye Books. So check it out. And then, are you going to read one by Kayla?
Kayla, yeah. So Kayla's a real, like, I kind of, you know, when you meet someone and you're like, can we be friends, please?
Yeah, she was amazing.
Yeah, I'm like, can we be friends now, please? I don't want to seem needy, but will you be my friend, please?
Yeah.
So I kind of have...
So you bought her book and now you're
friends. I bought her book and now we're friends. And I think the world of her, and she really wanted me to be a featured artist at the night. I'm going, hopefully, to the next one as well, if I can figure that out. But anyway, this is her book by Kayla Martell Feldman. It's called Tikva. And the cover is by Jessica Sinclair, and it's by JessicaPoetArt.com. No, that's her fucking thing.
Oh, it's Book Empire. It's printed by Book Empire.
It's
but I
printed
think
by
it's
Book
self-published.
Empire.
I think she's just... Yeah.
I don't know, but it's a beautiful book. It's got a gorgeous cover. And in the inside it says, "Farah, you're fucking hilarious. Kayla."
That's so cute.
Oh, that's another thing I meant to say as well. When I went up to perform, I was taken aback by how much the room filled with laughter when I bore my tragic soul in front of people. I'm like, why the fuck is this being received as stand-up?
Well, I think that was a really interesting, when I saw you perform, it was very interesting to see that, because I found a lot of your poems are very funny, but also they're very heartfelt and they're very sad. But the ability to share trauma with a group of people, but also allow them to feel comfortable and happy at the same time is a real skill. Like it is incredible. Your delivery is pretty comedic a lot of the time.
I'm a clown. I'm a clown.
We are both clowns.
We're clowns. I'll own it. Anyway, this one actually ties in really well with my trip home, because I love my brothers and I loved growing up with them, even though we fucking fought all the time. And my memories of them, even though they're grown-ups now, you know, I'll always remember a version of them, and you know, the smell of grass that reminds me of them being out running because they were sportsmen. And I was just like, and I was reading through Tikva by Kayla, and I found this poem called "I Remember You," and I really felt it. And anyone with siblings or anyone who grew up and had a childhood that they remember might relate to this from their friends or their family or whatever. Anyway, it's called "I Remember You." Young, all sharp elbows and floppy hair, not a care in the world except soccer and peanut butter sandwiches and Saturday morning cartoons. I remember you with grass stains and growing pains. In a way, you're a museum exhibit in my head. Not dead, but like fixed in time. You stay mine that way. You stay 9 that way. You stay how I remember you. End.
That's really nice.
It's fucking lovely. It's lovely.
Yeah, that's gorgeous.
I got a little goosebumps.
She's yeah, she's brilliant, and absolutely, like they were all. What was really, really wonderful about going to Elle's poetry evening was that everyone was just an absolute gem. It's very rare that you're in a room with 70 people and get on with almost everyone you meet.
I think it might be the poetry scene.
That's what I mean. Lovely, emotional people.
George, I'm going fucking hang out with these people all the time because they're fucking lovely.
Yeah, you should do. I think that's really cool.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Like,
do it.
People.
I'm doing it.
I'm actually doing it now.
If
you'd like to book me as a poet for your night, just email info@rapetherbridge.com. I'm available. And I also like being paid. So if you've got money, just hire me.
I mean, advertise on your own time, bitch.
Okay, what the fuck is going on?
Okay, so cocktail moment this week is slightly... I keep saying this week, like
yeah,
we do this weekly. For our tri-monthly podcasting session.
Good, but sometimes it's once a week, so, you know.
This is really, really exciting for me because I absolutely love craft beer, and my very good friend Amber Donalt introduced me to Lily Waite at Queer Brewing. And Lily has dedicated her sort of beer industry knowledge to creating sensational craft beers with various different breweries. So they do a lot of collaborations, and then they have a Queer Brewing range of beers which they sell on top of the other collaborative beers they do. So this one is a collaboration with Siren Craft Beer, this one with Salt, and then these two are Queer Brewing's own beers. I have a slight confession about this beer moment.
Why? Because one of the cans is empty.
Yeah. And I saw Lily at a party a couple of weeks ago, and she was like, "You've had that beer quite a long time." And I explained that we hadn't really been recording, but the beer was in the fridge and getting nice and cold for this episode. And she said, if they're just in your fridge, won't you drink them? And I was like, I'm not an animal. No. And I got home from work the other day and all I wanted was a beer, and these were glistening at the back of the fridge. And I felt terrible for having it without you. It was the Queer Brewing DIPA. And this is the sort of thing you can expect from these beers. On the back, it says, fight like hell. Mourn the dead, fight like hell, for the living. This is a beer brewed to observe and speak to Trans Day of Remembrance on the 20th of November. This is the day the trans community and our allies remember to honour our siblings who lost their lives in anti-trans violence.
Stop.
Fight Like Hell is based on the recipe for existence as a radical act, our core pale. To us, existence represents that this is a hostile society. Simply existing as a trans person is a radical act of defiance. In the face of such sustained transphobia throughout the world, and here in the UK, we must all fight like hell for all trans people, and particular trans people of colour. A proportion of profits from this beer will be split between trans-focused and led charities. Queer Brewing is a queer-owned brewery providing visibility and representation for LGBT plus people, using beer as a vehicle for social change. Our beers raise money for vital LGBTQ plus charities, as we work to make beer a little more approachable to those outside and a little more, well, queer on the inside.
Well, that's fucking inspirational.
Isn't it absolutely, like, heart-wrenchingly powerful? And the beer industry has always been quite a patriarchal, masculine place, and companies like Queer Brewing are really flipping it and making it accessible
Where can we
to
buy
everyone.
them?
So they have great 6 sort of boxes on their website that you can just order
What's their
from the
website?
Queer Brewing. Let me just double check it so that I don't get it wrong.
Yeah, don't get it wrong.
Queer Brewing. Yeah, so their website is thequeerbrewingproject.com. It was founded by Lily Waite in 2019, and the gorgeous Amber Carlotta Donalds that we both know very well. I just asked her for her job description and she said queen of everything. So she
I love her.
I know, she's great. So she's helping out with sales and marketing and all of that kind of stuff.
I'm going to just dive in here, and I picked up the one which I like the packaging most because it's got like a honeycomb trans flag, rainbow flag. What the fuck is the flag called now?
I don't know what it's called anymore because that's the rainbow flag with the trans triangle added on, which is like
And the BLM.
That should now just be called the flag.
The flag.
I don't know. Yeah, the
Okay,
LGBTQIA
so if
plus
you're
flag.
new to this podcast, me and George are aging queers.
We're the old gays.
So our revolution in our 20s was a different battle than it is now. And because we're so wrapped up in our own lives, we don't know all the fucking lingos.
Yeah, I had a really interesting conversation with someone much younger than me the other day. And I had to keep saying, I'm so sorry, I don't know what that means. It was really like, it's the first time it's ever happened to me. It's so embarrassing.
Yeah, like I was only down the road with Laura J. Chambers from episode 9 in season 1, The Three Witches of Shock and Carcassel. And I was in the house and loads of us queer people were there, and it was hot and there was loads of legs out and it was great. And they kept going, oh yeah, us AFABs. And I'm like, what the fuck is an AFAB? What the fuck is an AFAB? And I had to just go, Laura, what the fuck is an AFAB? Assigned female at birth.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, well, actually, I really like that. And I'm
That's
going to
very cool.
I'll put it in the repertoire.
Well, because I love NB, just like...
NBs are lovely.
NBs are gorgeous. Like,
Yeah.
it's such a nice term. And
Which is non-binaries.
yeah.
But like, I'll take that. I'll be a happy little NB. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
thank you.
Yeah. I wish I had that when I was 19, because then I'd be just like an MB. But now I'm just like, what are you? And I'm like, Ramp Anthem Rich.
Let me find out.
Okay, I'm going to crack
Gay
this
and
beer.
trans flag. So can you let us know what it's called?
Oh, okay.
And
Did I
there's
not
the
do
little
that?
description on the back.
Okay, so this one's called Queer Marzen.
It's called, wait for it, because this is groundbreaking, the Pride flag.
Okay. It's just shit to be proud about.
Yeah.
Okay, I like it. It's called the Pride flag.
The Pride flag.
So the front is a honeycomb pride flag. And the little description on the back says, this beer is canned by Salt Beer Factory. Store chilled, may contain sediment. www.saltbeerfactory.co.uk. The description is modern brewing in the heart of Saltire. I see what they've done there. The Queer Brewing Factory is a project LGBT. It's exactly what
it's
you
the same
said.
on the back. Okay, cool.
Okay, so I'm going to pour a little bit. It's got a good pouring action. A little bit of ASMR there.
They're very beautiful cans.
I'm gonna try it after everyone else does.
That's absolutely delicious.
It smells very fresh.
It is, yeah, for quite a dark. It's not super dark, but it's quite light and refreshing.
I would say that is light and refreshing and almost floral. Am I allowed to say stuff like that?
Yeah, definitely.
You know what it tastes like? Okay, let me just go again.
I wouldn't say it's overly hoppy. That's quite like a...
I would say it's almost like somebody spiked your elderflower wine.
Yeah, it's got quite a bit punchy, isn't it?
Yeah.
But also, I think that's quite a good one for people who don't like... If you didn't like really crafty craft beer, that's a really nice...
I can be honest. I'm not a fan of overly complex beers. I like a simple beer. And growing up, historically, I come from a country where Coors Light, Budweiser and Heineken are the most popular beers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how my palate developed. So my journey in the craft beer industry, or like going into craft beers, I'm always like, what's the simplest thing you have? This is refreshing, light and simple, and I really like it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad. That's a good one.
It doesn't taste 5.6% though, so I would say it's slightly dangerous.
Yeah, you could, if on a hot day, if you had 3 of those, I think you'd be in a little bit of
a little bit of
a wobble.
Malty sweetness.
Oh yeah, it is quite sweet and malty.
It's like somebody licked all the chocolate off a Malteser and then poured it into your fizzy water.
Oh yeah, like malt.
Yeah.
Mm.
Or like
I really like that.
You went to Eddie Rockets or one of those 50s diners to get a malt milkshake, like Five Guys, and they took all the milk out and replaced it with beer.
I love your food descriptions. They're amazing. So good.
Thank you.
This one, I think you might quite like this one. The Siren collaboration is the Euphoria Kiwi and Lime Goza. I've always said goose, which I think is slightly more fun, but Goza is the correct pronunciation.
Okay, and we might be wrong about that because we're not scientists.
The Euphoria beer is a collaboration between Queer Brewing, Siren Craft Brew, and Loddon Brewery.
I'm going to smell it.
Oh my God, this one's so good.
It smells like key lime pie from Waitrose.
Oh, it's so like... I really love sour. I love candy that makes your mouth suck up.
Warheads. It does. It could be Warheads, but I'm getting key lime pie.
Yeah.
Specifically from Waitrose. Okay, hold on. Let me have a sip.
Oh, I really like that.
Oh, do you know what that is? That is when you've left lime cordial out for a few days and you take a sip and you quite like it. But it's actually good. It's actually gone stale.
Yeah.
But it's lovely.
I mean, I love a drink left out for a little bit.
Yeah. Is that a weird thing about me? Like if I leave cordial out for a few days, I'm like, oh, that's delicious.
I really like, and this is a bit of a tangent from these delightful drinks we're drinking, but I quite like a warm, flat Diet Coke left in the can in the sun. Yeah, I get that. Like a day later and you're like, oh yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's like pizza the next day.
I really love a pint or a can, but then after Ra's face has just gone in on itself.
So I'm a little bit allergic to kiwi, so I'm not actually able to taste it in an ordinary fashion. So I'm going to say that I'm going to pass on this, but only because I have an intolerance to the fruit that's in it.
Oh, well, that means this is great for me because I'm going to put her beer into my glass. Yeah, I don't like drinking too much sour beer all in one go because it makes you feel a bit like sour.
What's the percentage on that?
It's not super high, actually. I think it was 4%.
4. Okay, that's wonderful because it tastes much stronger and you could really enjoy sipping that and not get too fucking
I like a sour
wasted.
beer as well because you drink them slower. You don't glug them as much. And then actually, if it's like the beginning of an evening, it's quite nice to start with a fruity sour beer.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of go into your IPAs and your double IPAs later on.
My mouth entirely tastes like pennies now because I have consumed kiwi. Oh.
Ra's the worst person to do this with. I'm really trying to promote this and she's having an allergic reaction in the corner.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. I have to say, though, it is my favourite tin, I think, because it's the most beautiful packaging.
This one, I have... Oh, wow, this is actually quite a punchy one. So this is the Queer Brewing IPA and it's called Burst Into Bright. We all burst into bright colours, flowers and sparks from time to time. This beer is for those moments of brightness, vibrance and joy. Burst into Bright is our core IPA, hopped solely with NZ Cascade. Maybe that's New Zealand Cascade. And fermented with the same Kveik yeast as our core pale ale existence as a radical act, resulting in a beautiful layered floral, citrus and tropical notes. Burst into this moment with us. Amazing.
That's beautiful.
Can you sort that one out? And I'm going to try and finish this kiwi one.
It's got a good pour on it. It sounds nice. It's slightly cloudy. I like the pink packaging because I'm a fan of the colour pink. I'm smelling it.
Oh, this is a great colour, isn't it?
I'd say it smells kind of perfumey. I'm going to get my nose in there.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a really great beer.
Oh, it's sharp. She's sharp one.
Oh, I don't know. I think that's pretty smooth. I think that's quite It's got, and I don't like that I don't like that this is something that you'd say, but it's got great mouthfeel. It's got a really lovely, like rich kind of like smooth foam. Like it's sort of.
It is foamy.
Not creamy, but like
Do
quite.
You know what
like,
it is? If Aero chocolate mousse was a beer, it'd be her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
It's just like it's got a nice mouthfeel.
It's really delicious.
Yeah, I quite like that.
That would be my go-to. Yeah, that's a good like. It would be worth having a few of those.
8%. Oh my god!
No, that's not 8%.
Oh,
the one we're drinking is the 6%.
Okay, that's a bit more.
Yeah, no, the one I was talking about at the beginning was the DIPA, which is 8%.
That?
The DIPA was one of the best beers I've had in my life, and I felt really bad for not doing it on the podcast, but I really enjoyed drinking it on my own at home.
Fuck you.
With a ciggy, like just, it was so special. And then I read the back and felt so fucking bad for not having saved it.
It's lovely though, and I think this actually might be my favourite one. Is the IPA, Queer Brewing IPA.
This is certainly the most traditional one, and this is their core. This is one of their they always have this in stock. That's the one that they sell a lot of. And it's, if you're having a barbecue, order a case of it.
It's
you know?
pretty and it's a nice conversation starter.
Yeah.
And it's a good way to maybe get your fucking bigoted baby boomer dad to understand trans rights.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I mean, we always like to just shoehorn it in there.
Yeah, just like, here's a great beer made by queer people.
It's like,
enjoy it.
And, they go, what's a queer person? I was like, read the back of the can. And then, you pass the buck a little bit and you don't have to engage with Uncle Stuart,
Yeah, exactly. I just think it is very easy to go to your local supermarket, and I'm very guilty of this, and picking up a 12-pack of whatever they've got on offer. It is not much more expensive to think a couple of weeks ahead of your event and order some beer from a brilliant company that does incredible work in the community.
It'd be a really good third date when somebody comes around and you go, do you want a beer?
Do you want a proper beer from the fridge? Like just having even if you just had a 6-pack.
I think it's a really... because it's a cause that we believe in, of course, as to, Marvelous Queers. I'm a fan of this, and I think it would really embellish your life just to drink beer like this.
Our lovely friend Rasheen recently moved into her new flat.
Rasheen works at the White Cube, and she's beautiful.
She's incredible. And I had been, that day that I went to see her for dinner, I'd been gifted quite a nice bottle of whiskey. Mm-hmm. And I was like, if I take this home, it's just going to get drunk. So I gave it to Rasheen, and she was like, I don't really drink whiskey. And I was like, I know, but isn't it a cool thing to have on your sideboard in case someone comes round and you want to offer them a whiskey?
Yeah.
It's that vibe where you're like, you're not going to drink it, but you're going to have someone over and be like, you want a whiskey?
See,
that's cool. And it's the same with this stuff.
I think, it's a lovely birthday present because I like gifting people. Like when I go to friends down in Margate or whatever, I'd like to bring like a bottle of really nice oil.
Yeah.
Or, some lovely salt. Because you don't buy that shit for yourself. And this is one of those, those items that you want to give to somebody because it's the essence of you as well. And it's a really beautiful thing. And it's like, here.
Yeah. They're really, really special. It's an amazing thing that Lily does. And she's such an integral part of the sort of brewing industry in London. And she just brings so many people together. Like it's a great project, and I'm so proud to have them on the podcast. And She is also the most incredible ceramicist and artist. Her Instagram account is Lily, Lily, Waite, Waite, ceramics. And she makes gorgeous like mugs
get
and
yourselves
plates
on there. They're
and
really
bowls.
delicate and beautiful.
And then she also makes these gorgeous beer mugs, proper ceramic beer mugs. So go on her website, get a beer mug, order a 6-pack of these beers, find out which ones you like from the selection pack, and then get involved.
Wonderful. Okay.
Why buy other beer?
What a hero.
This has been great.
This has been a life-changing movement for us in beer, I think. That's it. Never doing that. Any other beer at home again?
Lovely listener, it has been so great to come back and record this episode. It's been a really long time since we've recorded. Rora and I have both had quite challenging things going on. And
Oh God, yeah, my personal.
work. But also work has been all-encompassing. Like I remember 3 weeks ago, I was working 3 different jobs. I was trying to balance my time, like our diaries. We did a diary check and we were like, we don't have time.
No.
And obviously, you know, there's so much going on in all of our lives that I think we've got to learn to be a bit gentle with ourselves. And when things aren't possible, not get down on ourselves and just say, give it some space. It's okay. We'll come back to it. And that's why this is such an important episode for us.
This episode, just reminded me, this podcast is a passion project. It's because I love documenting my life. This is essentially my diary. We also get to...
Our diary?
It is our diary. It is. Did I say ours or mine? Also, we get to pay a producer, which is amazing. And we've had loads of contributions via our Patreon, which I had to press pause on because I can't keep up.
Yeah, the admin was a lot. And I think that's part of everything that we do. You know, when you're an artist, you're not just an artist. You're also... an accountant, a producer, a marketing, it's a lot. And I think, you know, where people can help each other out, that's really important. But when you don't have the time to do stuff, sometimes you have to hit those pause buttons and just reset.
It's like people are going to have to understand, because you know what? I am really good at painting and taking pictures, but I ain't no admin bitch.
No, we're both terrible at it.
So I'd just like to say a big thank you to anyone that listens, and thank you for sharing with other people as well. We have some new followers at the minute, and you can follow us on Instagram at artiststhatarworking. You can email us at artiststhatarworking@gmail.com. And we love hearing from people. We love seeing your artwork. So keep it coming in, and thanks for tuning in.
And also, if you have any particularly queer-focused projects coming up in the next few months that you'd like to talk to us about, if you'd love to be interviewed for the podcast about what you've got going on in your life, if you're an artist that works, get in touch and we will promote the heck out of you, because I think we all need it at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. It's a fucking weird time to be alive. So lean on each other, because that's all we got, baby.
That's all you got, baby.
That's all I got.
And, you know, the summer's coming. Buy some queer beer. Get in the sunshine.
Yeah.
Wear sunscreen. Get your vitamin D.
Please wear sunscreen. It is the best anti-aging cream available on the market. Anyway, we were meant to be doing an outro.
This is an outro.
Yeah, but it's going on a bit.
I think wear sunscreen is the end.
Okay.
End. That's nice.
I liked it. Well done.
That's good.
Cool. What do we do now?
Go to the park, I guess. Yeah.